The double is gone for Leinster for another year. Focus will shift in a big way now to the Champions Cup final next weekend. It's probably shifted already, in fairness. A rematch with a coach and a side that they'll be all too familiar with after the heartbreak of the last couple of seasons.
It was probably my first taste of a proper loss. I've been lucky to be in a few teams now where losing hasn't been an often occurrence, but that's the one loss probably that's on the back of my mind, that we probably let that one slip, and it still hurts today. And I think you look at a lot of teams and the losses hurt you more than even you remember the losses almost more than the wins. So it's brilliant that we get another shot at it, this time in the Aviva as well. So I think it's exciting times, but we need to get our stuff right to get the job done.
On a personal level, I don't think I performed in last year's final, so I suppose getting individually myself right for that. There's a few small things I've worked on over the last year, from learnings not only in that game, but a few losses that we did take, and then collectively as well we've looked back at the final, and you've just got to use those experiences to drive you on. You can't really dwell on it too long, but just to use that as that extra bit of motivation, extra bit of determination to go one step further this year.
Yeah, let's talk about Leinster second. Murray, La Rochelle, I mean, how are they looking? I haven't been following the top 14, and a lot of our viewers haven't, I suppose. Are they fully locked and loaded for Rod's re-entry to the Aviva?
They're looking good. They're into the semi-finals. They rested up their full first team last weekend. Jonathan Donty played very well.
He's back.
So he's back with a bang, and they've got all the big guns, really. Kerr Barlow missed the final last year, the scrum half, who's outstanding, and they've been really good in the last couple of games in Europe. They had a scare against Gloucester where they were really off form, round of 16, but beating Sarries and beating Exeter, really impressive, underlining their qualities. Breakdown is phenomenal. They've got massive size and power in the carry, and they've got a really good kicking game as well. Their maul is strong and scrum is solid. So loads of areas that they've edged Leinster in the last couple of years that Leinster will be keen to prove a point in.
Well, forewarned is forearmed, isn't it, or whatever way that cliche goes. But what was Rog making of Saturday's encounter, do you reckon?
I don't think he made much of it, because he knows the team that's coming next weekend are going to be a very different Leinster team, different focus, different agenda. Leinster are going to go full metal jacket, no doubt about it.
Well, this is the match that defines the 5 years where we've been rightly praising Leinster.
Yeah,
they need to put the cherry on it now, don't they?
It's huge for Leinster, and I think you can forget about the URC. They'll park that, it's done and dusted, and they'll judge the season on the Champions Cup. And I think it's going to be a really difficult game for them. They're going to have to get a lot of things right. This La Rochelle team, they're second in the top 14. Their form has been very good. They've targeted Europe as well. They've had the luxury of resting guys. They're pretty much locked and loaded for this game. I think the home advantage can be still an edge against the French teams. If things start to turn against the French in 80 minutes, they can start to doubt themselves. I think we're better equipped to deal with setbacks away from home than French teams are. It's part of their DNA. So Leinster will be hoping to get an edge and maybe put the doubts into La Rochelle's mind, but it's a huge game for Leinster.
Yeah, there are definitely more doubts this week than there were last week about it. What do you think in terms of, like Hugo Keenan referring to his own underperformance last year? That lightning won't strike twice, I'd imagine, will it?
Yeah, it's going to be such a fascinating game. I mean, it's the Champions Cup final. It's already probably the biggest club game in the world every year. I think add in the O'Gara La Rochelle factor in terms of it being him. The history between the two teams, and then I think even if there could be more pressure on Leinster, I think that pressure has arrived after the result at the weekend. They have a real opportunity to vindicate a lot of conversations over the past 12 months, which are either going to be proven right. Leinster maybe lack a little bit of physicality. Leinster made poor selections. Leinster did that. I think.
But what it really is, which is totally unfair, of course, is that Leinster can't close out the deal in the big matches.
Yeah, that's another one as well. And if they win this game, and again we talked about the selection for the semi-final, it could have gone differently. But I believe if those 11 players come back in and Leinster perform this week and they win that, then they're completely vindicated. The fifth star is the one they want. So there's just so many layers to what's just going to be an absolutely fascinating game.
Last word to you, Murray, and it's a very last 20 seconds. So Leinster to do it, 5th star?
I think so. It's going to be really close again, but I think they've improved the areas they need to improve. They're stronger in the final quarter. They take more advantage if a team gets yellow carded. Their set piece is better. So, and they've got a better 23. So I think Leinster just about.
Okay, super. Thanks for that.